Who would like to go home? And where is home? What is home? And what's stopping us from being at home? So we're going to be looking at all of that tonight in the satsang. And satsang just means gathering of wisdom. So we collectively make the wisdom all together. And if you have any questions while we are speaking, please type them up, and we do try and answer them. We don't always get to see them all because of the format, but we do like to get those questions. And if we don't answer them live, we definitely will answer them afterwards anyway. So please type it up. And if there's anything you'd like us to focus on in these satsangs, please let us know as well, and we will consider those requests. And if you are watching for the first time, just let us know who you are. And also, if you're watching on YouTube, if you can just press the like and subscribe button. Please do subscribe. We need to expand our channel. And if you can, share it as well. Share it with your friends and family, and any groups that you belong to as well. Share it on there as well.
And if you're on YouTube, just press the like button if you liked it, because that also helps.
Yeah, it does. And we like getting the hearts.
Hearts.
We like getting the hearts. Yeah. Thank you. So if we can just center ourselves into this moment here and now by gently closing our eyes. We always start the satsang with a bit of a centering meditation. So let's just withdraw our mind from all other times and all other places and just be here now. Such a simple saying, be here now, and yet the mind finds it virtually impossible to do. So if you can just put your hands on the steering wheel of the mind and steer it in the direction of presence, in the here and now. And one of the ways that we can do to help the mind with presence is to focus on body awareness. So we become aware of what the body feels like just in this unique moment here and now. We know possibly what the body felt like earlier on. But right now, what does it feel like right now? Do you have any aches or pains, any stiffness in the body? Do you have any feelings in the body? Any emotions in the body? And if you do, where are they? Which organ are they in? Just do the bit of self-inquiry for a moment. Just see how you feel on the inside. And while you're doing that, just become aware where your feet are resting, where your hands are resting. If there are any discomforts in the body, any emotional patterns in the body, right here, right now, let's just allow them to be. Let's not try and understand them or resist them or wish them away. Let's just totally embrace them, accept them. They are part of this present moment, so we accept them. We allow them to be there. We allow them completely to be there. And the breath is another very powerful tool at anchoring our awareness in the physical body. Breath is the closest we can get to the non-physical from the physical. So let's just use the breath to anchor our awareness into the physical body by taking a very deep breath in. A long, deep breath into your solar plexus. And then a beautiful, long, surrendering, relaxing breath out. Take another breath in to the count of 4 this time. And a long breath out to the count of 6. Just relax and squeeze and let go of all the air. Take another deep breath in to the count of 4 again. Deep, 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 deep. And breathe out to the count of 8. And at the end of 8, just pause for a moment before you take an in-breath and just become aware of the stillness and the emptiness in that brief moment before you take another breath in. Let's just hand the breathing back over to the intelligence called life. We won't try and force it in any way. We'll just allow life to breathe us, gently in and out. Just allowing life to breathe us in this moment. keeping your awareness on your breath. If you're breathing through the nose, just bring your awareness to the tip of the nose. Just become aware of the change in temperature between the in-breath and the out-breath. Not trying to force anything, but just allowing the flow of breath in and out of the body. And with each out-breath, sink down deeper into the chair or bed or floor, whatever you're sitting or lying on. Just relax even more, surrender even more. Surrender the limbs, your torso. Surrender the head. Surrender the mind to just this moment, here and now. And let's use another powerful technique to presence, and that's to listen to what's occurring in your environment in this moment. And the secret to listening is to become aware that it isn't your body that listens, not your mind that listens, it's awareness that's aware of listening. You are that awareness. So as we listen to the sounds, we don't identify with the sounds, but we become aware that we are hearing. We are the space through which the sound travels. For a brief moment we are aware of the sound. And step back into this awareness. And just notice the emptiness in awareness. The no-thingness, which is called presence. Presence and awareness are one and the same. And notice that underlying all activities of the mind and the body and the external environment, right here, right now, underneath it all, there's this space, this emptiness. And in this space of presence, just notice the infinite depth of peace that's here right now, that we're all sharing in, we're all connecting and communing in this space of peace. And as we become aware of this underlying field of peace, which is our true nature, so this awareness allows peace to radiate out into the world, and we become an instrument of peace in this dimension. It takes no work to do this, just an alignment with our being. So in this moment, let's allow being fully into our awareness. And notice the stillness within, the peace. And now gently take a deep breath in, deep, deep, deep into the body. And gradually release the air, surrender it back to life. Noticing the stillness and the peace. Gently open your eyes and notice that stillness and that peace that's in your environment. It's in the space. It's not in the things, it's in the space. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
That's nice.
Thank you.
Welcome to all those who've joined.
Yes.
It's good to have you with us tonight.
Hello, Gabs.
Yeah, good to
Claire.
have you with us.
Yvonne.
Yeah.
Hello.
We can't see all of you. We can just see those of you that have
Commented, yeah.
Things have changed here on Facebook.
Yeah.
So we'll just let us know if you can't hear us for any reason, but otherwise we'll just keep going.
Yeah, for those of you who weren't here right in the beginning, we were trying to go landscape as we would normally do, and Facebook is saying,
No,
not
can't do that
tonight,
anymore.
you can't do that.
Everything's changed.
So here we are, we're in portrait, which means we have to squeeze together on the screen, yeah. So thank you, yeah. Anything happening in the heavens?
Well, there's a lot. We've just had a full moon,
Yeah.
and there's still some of that energy around, most definitely. So a lot of people are feeling a lot right now, whatever that is. Things might be coming up for you. Quite a lot of people are feeling anger, things that are coming up from the past, from family stuff, from home stuff. And one of the planets in that alignment is Mars. And Mars is our desire to move forward, and it's presently in the sign of Cancer, which is home. So this urge to go home, the urge for home. And so we just thought we'd talk about that tonight, and just to see what that means, what it represents. What is home? Home is often seen as a place, a physical place, and we're going to be speaking about that tonight, whether that's the only home.
Yeah. Well, let us ask you, what do you think home is? And do any of you yearn to go home?
Yeah,
do any
put
of
it
you
in the
yearn to
comments.
go home? Put it in the comments and tell us, if you can, describe what this home would be. What would it feel like to be home? Be interesting to just do a bit of self-inquiry now. We have this idea in our head of home, but what we're looking for is possibly not an idea, but a realization. And a realization is normally an inner experience. It's an inner feeling. So what is the feeling that you would associate with being home? Being home. What would it be?
I think a lot of us as well, when you start going on a spiritual journey or spiritual path, many of us, and I know myself for many, many years, I very closely aligned myself as a spiritual seeker, as somebody who is seeking some place, some feeling, some destination, an awakening experience, a transcendent experience. And I think a lot of us on this journey are seeking that. And we've just got to see what are we seeking for, and if we're looking for home, how those two things don't necessarily work together.
Yeah. And if I can maybe just share just my personal journey a little bit here. So when I was about 4 or 5, I had a near-death experience. Not one that I consciously can recall, but I know it happened because I was admitted to hospital, and in hospital I flatlined. And my mother prayed and prayed, apparently to the angels, and a little while later I started breathing and my heart started beating again. And I know from that point I have no conscious recollection of where I went in that time, but I do know that I had an absolute yearning for a love, a lightness, a liberation, a freedom that transcended this physical body of my 5-year-old or whatever it was, and it transcended the experiences that I was having here. At that stage I had quite a nice physical home. We were in a country called Rhodesia, now Zimbabwe, and my parents at that stage had enough money, so there weren't any problems from that point of view. So it wasn't that I was uncomfortable in my physical surroundings, but it was definitely an absolute yearning to go home. And, you know, as I got older, as I grew up, if you had wanted to bring tears to my eyes, just say, John, do you want to go home? And there was this overwhelming emotion of, yes, I'm away from home and I would love to go home. That's my yearning to go home. That's my seeking to go to this place called home. And my physical circumstances changed quite a lot. We emigrated from Rhodesia, Zimbabwe, down to South Africa, and we ran out of money, and so it was a very difficult environment at home, which even promoted that feeling even more continually. And I didn't really connect terribly well with children my own age, etc. So there was always this feeling of being an outcast, and I gradually over the years, particularly as I entered my teenage years, started to think, well, there's got to be another planet. There's got to be another planet that I could call home. And I just felt a yearning to go back to that particular planet. And that feeling stayed with me most of my life until 20 odd years ago, 25 years ago, I came across a book, and it was written by Eckhart Tolle, and I started reading that book, and I discovered that home was here. When we roll up the mind with its propensity for past and future, and we come into the present moment, we find what we're looking for. The seeking stops. It's the end of the search. So what was this comment here we have there?
Missing home from
Missing
Emma.
home in South Africa. Very much, yeah.
Yeah.
It's a sense of familiarity, and I move here has changed me this time. Found home. Yes, yes, yes. For many, many people, it's based on a physical experience, a physical environment.
And the people that are in that environment, the familiarity, as you say, Emma, the taste, the smells, the language, the accent, all of those things, yes, they do represent home. But there's another home as well. And that's the home that stops the search for home.
Yeah.
So John shared a little bit of personal stuff. So for me, in my life, if I look at my birth chart, I'm a Cancerian, which is home. You're looking for home. And I also have a very strong Sagittarius theme in my chart, which is the seeker. And so when I discovered that sort of polarity and that dynamic in my chart, it started to make so much sense, because I was always looking for home, but I was always seeking. And then when I was home, I wanted to be away, and when I was away, I wanted to be at home. And so it was the dynamic of really looking to see what is home, really what is home. And I mean, I look at astrology, and if you look at the sign of Cancer, which represents home, it represents family, it represents that place of belonging, the crab carries its house on its back. It's home already. And that's been part of my journey as well, is actually seeing and realizing that home is not somewhere else. No, home is not a place. It's not a building. It's not a family. That it doesn't matter where you are, if you really sort of lean into it, you're home now. This is the only place where we're home. And when our minds go forward and seek outwardly to find that place, we're actually taking ourselves away from home.
Yeah, and in your personal life, being a crab carrying a home on your back, which you don't necessarily see. You mentioned to someone the other day that you've moved quite a lot in your life.
Huge amount.
Something like 50 times or something.
Huge,
50 times.
I stopped counting.
So that journey of looking for home was very strong in your life.
Yeah, huge.
Very, very strong.
And always aligning it with the place.
Place.
If I could find the perfect place, if it was in the right place and the right people. And that certainly does help, being in a beautiful place. We're living in a beautiful place now. We feel very at home in this area, and with the people in this area, and the scenery, and the smells, and the vegetation, and everything. So it feels aligned, but still there's something deeper than that. It's a place that you come to wherever you are. So it's a place where you can be in the middle of nowhere, you can be in a very difficult situation even, and actually still bring yourself back home. And so it's just a coming back rather than a seeking.
Yeah.
But it's very interesting that we often call the spiritual journey a seeking journey. I'm a spiritual seeker. And something else that happened to me when I was, a few years ago, I was having a session with a healer friend of mine, and I was telling her that I was yearning for something. And she said, well, as long as you're yearning, you're never going to find. Because the energy of yearning is that I don't have it, it's there somewhere. And when I get it, then I'll feel okay. I'll feel happy, I'll feel content, I'll feel whole. And that was also, it was just a light bulb went on, because I realized, my goodness, I've spent a lot of my life yearning for something. And as long as you're yearning, you're resisting what you have already. You're resisting this, whatever this is. And whenever there's resistance, there's suffering.
Yeah, so let's look at it from a slightly different perspective to maybe help illuminate what the search is really about. So in life we may be looking for security, we may be looking for love and a sense of connection. Now the mind gets involved, and the mind only works in the dimension of time. It knows nothing about eternity, nothing about the timeless. It only works in time. So time has two components. It's got a past component and a future component. So when we are yearning for something, we automatically go into the mode of, where can I find it? And generally we can find it maybe in a few memories in the past, but generally we're looking in the future. So we're searching for the future. Now what that is a denial of what is. So we use the present moment then as a means to get somewhere else. And in that there's always a sense of dissatisfaction. Dissatisfaction with what is, and it's a projection to something other than what is better than this. And so that yearning, that seeking is a continuous process. And unfortunately, as you alluded to earlier, as you said earlier, the very act of seeking is a prevention from finding, because you can't find if you're a seeker. And I did project that role onto myself for many, many years in my life. The archetype of a seeker, because I thought it's a great archetype.
Nice.
Yeah, it's a good archetype. Is a seeker. It sounds better than being one of the others. And so I prided myself on being a seeker. And when I came across the teachings of presence and the power of now, I slowly started to realize that what I had been looking for in time was not to be found in time. It was not to be found in a particular place or situations or events or people. It was to be found in the depth of life, not the story of life. So, for example, some of you have typed up there that you are away from, in this case, South Africa, and there is a missing of South Africa and a missing of home. And that's totally understandable to the human, because the human has attachments, it has preferences, and that's understandable. And the problem is the human will never find anything other than a transitory home. It'll be at home for a brief moment, because everything in that world of form is in a state of process and a state of change, a state of decay. So there is nothing permanent in what I call the horizontal plane of time. Nothing permanent at all. And yet surely the yearning for home is yearning for permanence, is it not? Just ask yourself, is the home that I seek something transitory or something more permanent? And if everything in time is subject to time, in other words decay, because that's what time does, then I can't find this home that I'm looking for by looking for it in time. It's an impossibility. And only by stepping out of time can we find what we are looking for. And that's what I call the vertical plane, which is presence, which is now. So the mind is normally in a continual state of dissatisfaction with what is, because that's what the mind does. It's wonderful at doing that. And yet what we're looking for is available to us directly if we give up that dissatisfaction with what is. Giving up the judgmental perception of the mind, and we just accept what is in this moment. And then in that moment, we might be able to step back out of the human into the being, which we are. And in the being, as we did in the opening meditation, we find the stillness, we find the emptiness, we find the peace. And in that, there is no more seeking. There's no more yearning, and we no longer are using the present moment as a means to get somewhere else. We start to embrace presence with our heart. And what is one of the sayings that we have? Home is where the heart is. Just think about that for a moment. Home is where the heart is. The heart is always in the vertical plane.
And it's always here.
It's always here.
It's nowhere else.
No time.
No,
No
the heart
time.
doesn't have
The
time.
mind, the brain knows time, past and future. The heart we connect to through the power of presence.
I think also just something that I can't really read up to see who it was. Emma. Yeah, just, when you ask yourself what is home, as John asked earlier on, and Emma says there, it's comfort, it's a sense of familiarity. So whatever home means to you, whatever the physical home, the place, South Africa, if you're South African, or whatever your country of birth engenders in you, the thought of it. So you're away from South Africa and you think of South Africa, what does it engender? What kind of thought, what kind of feeling, rather, does it actually bring to the surface? That is the very feeling, and that is the very state that we need to access wherever we are. So if you see home as providing you with familiarity, with a sense, what does familiarity feel like? What does comfort feel like? And to be able to step back into that beautiful place of comfort and familiarity. As Shelley said there, it's sort of becoming more settled and learning on a daily basis that it's not external. So the more settled we become within, the more we come home to our true essence, home to ourselves, the less there is that sense of disconnect, even if we're not in the city of our preference or where we would like to be. And I mean, I can say this with absolute, because I've lived in so many different places, and that none of them necessarily felt like home. And it doesn't matter how beautiful the home is, how exquisite it is. If you haven't found that sense of home inside you, you're always going to be seeking for something else to make it better, to make it bigger, to make it more whatever, comfortable, more familiar. So it's to find that daily, minute by minute, moment by moment, to come back. And I think that's just something that I'm working a lot with, is just to bring myself back, because the tendency is to go out, is to let the mind go out. If this was better, then that would be better, and if I could get there. So it's always seeking. The mind is like I see it as a heat-seeking missile. It's always seeking. That's
Seeking
its nature.
future.
Seeking future.
Yeah. Something better
Seeking
than what is.
something better than this.
Yeah.
And that's great. It's fine. It's fine to have the mind, and it's fine to have a seeking mind, but not to try and find home in that seeking mind, because you won't be able to.
It's not there.
Because it isn't there.
It's not there.
Yeah.
It's really not there. And as you slowly start to release the mind's grip on you, you release time, you release the need for future. You can still use time where it's practical, where you do need to plan something, you do it. But you no longer look to it to give you anything of any real value. You start to find real value in the isness of life, in the isness of presence, in what is now. And the moment you call off the search, you find your life transforms from struggle to acceptance to appreciation, to allowing what is to be. And in that you find the real home that you're looking for. And the real home you're looking for, as I said earlier, isn't transitory. It's not something that's there for a short time and then taken away from you. It's that which can never be taken away from you. And this leads me into the real truth of what's being spoken about here. Home is not a place in time. It is who and what you really are. So this seeking for a home, or yearning for a home, is in fact a seeking for who and what you really are. Now, the only place you can find who and what you really are is not through achievement, not through future, but through withdrawing the perception that you have of reality from time into presence. Because you are presence. Presence is our very true nature. It's the essence of life. It's the essence of being. The being and presence are one and the same. And yes, you are the human, The human is part of time. It's born and it dies. But the being is eternally present. The human being. And this time that we're going through now, the time of awakening, is a recognition of that truth. It's a recognition that, yes, I'm playing the role roles in the human dimension, but it is the being that's here. I am a human being. And we've spent far too much of our attention and effort trying to fix the human, trying to satisfy the needs and the demands of the human, and we've overlooked the being. And so finding home is a recognition of that which we have overlooked in preference for time, in preference for future. And it's a stepping back into the true essence of who and what we are. That's what awakening is. Awakening is not finding, bells and whistles and lights somewhere in time. It's about stepping back into the beauty and the magnificence of who and what we already are.
Yeah, I love that as well, because the more that we can step back into this beauty of where we are, even just in this moment, Paula says there, I know that I will find sunshine. The more, Paula, that you can find sunshine now, in this moment, now, not tomorrow. It's not a trying. It's, the mind will tell us that one day I'll be able to be more accepting. I need to work on it, which means that I've got to do something to find acceptance, right? And that's the trick of the mind, because you can't find acceptance by doing something. Acceptance is accepting it as it is. You're not trying to change it. You're not trying to adjust it or embellish it. It's just, this is it. This is this moment. And if we really, really saw, I think if we really could see even a flash sighting of the miraculous nature of this life, of how we got here from stardust, and how everything is conspired to actually get us to be here in whatever form we're in. If we could really see that even for a second, we would say, okay, this is it.
Thank you.
Thank you. There's nothing else. This is it.
No.
If there was nothing, if there was not another, if you weren't going to live for another second, what would you do in this, or how would you be in this moment? If this was it. If you weren't going to wake up tomorrow morning. I read something so profound just now. It was a little book. It's called Coming Home or something. What's the book called? Well, anyway, it's a sort of short chapters, and this woman is relating the story about. They're short little stories, and she says her husband used to eat poppy seed muffins or something, and spill them on the kitchen floor. And she sort of used to mop them up fine, and it wasn't an issue. But one day she was feeling particularly grumpy, and she had this thought as she was mopping the poppy seeds up from the white floor that, I would love it if just once there weren't poppy seeds on the white floor. And the very next thought were, if there weren't poppy seeds on the white floor, there wouldn't be the husband to put the hot poppy seeds on the white floor. And it was a complete shift in her awareness of, this is it. This is it. There's nothing else. So don't wish for anything else to be different.
And what did she do?
And she immediately ran and gave him a huge hug.
She went to a study and gave him a big hug.
A huge hug.
And in
said
gratitude.
From then onwards, saw the poppy seeds as something completely differently. Because she had a shift in consciousness in that moment. It was like a life, bright spark. So we can complain about somebody not doing the things that we want them to do or in the right way, that we would like them to do it. And then in the very next moment, realize that, and if they weren't here, how would that feel? So it's this moment. It really does boil down to this.
And
key, extending those moments of feeling home.
Yeah.
So if you're sitting in the sunshine and you feel that sense of comfort, even for a second, you start to extend those by saying, I fully accept where I am in this life right now.
Yeah. And the key there in that story was, and in the story of finding home, is gratitude.
It is.
Just to be grateful for the isness, whatever is in your life. Just be grateful that you have the awareness of it. Here, right now, we are in satsang together, and if you can find this as an opportunity to open your hearts more, to feel the gratitude that's here right now for this unique experience that we're having together tonight. And as I said, as we experience gratitude, our heart opens, and that is where the home is, in the heart, right here. So we have the horizontal plane of time, always seeking, or seeking in future, or seeking in past. And then we have the vertical plane of presence. And if you think about the human body, the mind might travel in time, but the heart can't travel in time. It's here, in the vertical plane. It's in your body. Your body is the vertical plane. And time is affecting, or is a projection of the mind. And when we continually seeking out of the present moment for that which is permanent, then we are in a state of illusion and delusion. Because what we really seek, generally, is timeless. If you think of words like peace, like love, like joy, they're all here in this moment. You can't have love in time. Time and love are virtually mutually exclusive. You're either experiencing love or you're in time, not both. So just think about that one, for example. You're either experiencing joy or you're in time, mutually exclusive. And home is that. You're either at home or you are seeking in time, in which case you're not at home.
Yeah.
And so it's coming back to who you are, because you are the timeless essence of presence.
Yeah.
That's who and what we are. And that's the home. The recognition of that just brings such relief. You mean we can call off the search? Yes, we can call off the search.
Just stop the search.
Yeah.
And I think just then to be aware of the words that we use on a daily basis. You know, I wish that I could be. If only I were, or if only this was. And just to be aware of it, because each time we utter those words, we're actually taking ourselves away from this, away from home, and projecting into some other imagined place, an imagined future, where we might be happier, or healthier, or more aligned, or whatever it is. So if we can just see what our thoughts do and what our words back up, because it's very often words that we don't even realize that we're saying very often. You know, I miss home. Yeah, it's a typical thing to say if you're in another country and you feel that you're away from your known physical home. But the more we say it, the more you're going to miss it. When you start to actually put your focus on, this is home, that where I am is home. Doesn't matter where I am. And it was interesting, many years ago when I first started meditating, and I'd done a meditation course, I had to go and do a job in Uganda, and we got stuck in a traffic jam for, I think it was 12 and a half hours at the border. It wasn't pretty, and it was hot, and it was smelly, and it was noisy, and it was trucks, and because I'd just learned this, I sat there, and I actually went into such a beautiful place of peace, while everybody else was freaking out. And that was when I first realized that my state of mind is actually my choice. I can choose to freak out and swear and rush around like a mad thing, but it's not going to help because we're stuck, and we're going to be stuck here for many hours. So can I just be with it and accept it? And it was incredible how the experience then changed to the normal way, which would have been in complete resistance to being in this traffic jam for that long. And so it really does boil down to acceptance and gratitude. Eh?
It does.
Yeah. And just coming back. So even if you wake up in the middle of the night, which I often do, and the thoughts come in, the ideas or the worries or the concerns or the anxieties, as they come in, you just bring yourself back to your breath, or to an affirmation, or to just feeding
Body
into your
awareness.
body. So what am I feeling in my body right now? A mantra. And so that brings you back home. It does. And you do it again and again and again. And if you can't sleep, you will fall asleep if you bring yourself back.
Yeah, so home really by definition is usually associated with love and with peace. And love and peace are not to be found in time. They are to be experienced directly in presence by clearing the mind. Because really love and peace are only disrupted by wanting, by yearning, by preferences, by judgments, by resistance to life. And when we accept life in the present moment, we find, even in this, there is peace. Underneath the stories that I'm telling myself, underneath all the external noise in my environment, underneath that there's peace, right here, right now. And in peace there is love. And in all of that you find your true essence, which is being, which is our home. And that's the journey of awakening. That is the journey of awakening. Yeah.
Not out there.
It's not out there.
It's in here.
It's in us right now. And we have the power to come home now. Irrespective of where you are, you have the power to come back to your true essence of being, which is home. Where love is to be found, where peace is to be found, and where security is to be found. Not out there.
Familiarity.
That's right,
Yeah.
It is. Would you like to take us on a homeward bound?
I will do that.
Yeah, my surname is Homewood.
It is indeed. Homeward.
Homeward bound. So we have some affirmation cards here. Let's see if we can randomly choose one from the pack. And Michelle's going to choose one of these. And let's just see if we have an affirmation to take us home.
Okay, that'll do.
That's a lovely
Joel?
one.
Yeah,
Got a purple
absolutely.
one.
It can be one of our favorite times. If we don't go into resistance, of waking up in the early hours, because usually the mind will wake up and go,
And judge it
no, I
as well.
shouldn't be awake, I should be sleeping, I want to be sleeping.
Yeah.
Whereas if you can just go, I'm awake, it's 3 o'clock and I'm awake, so I can just connect. Yeah, it's beautiful. That's a lovely, lovely insight.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, so I've got the affirmation and I'll take you in the meditation. So just make yourself comfy. Nestle into wherever you are sitting or lying down. Take a deep breath in. And then a long, slow breath out. See if you can, on the next out breath, breathe out through your mouth. So breathing in through your nose. And then making the long out breath through your mouth longer than the in breath. This automatically starts to relax us even more. So breathing in and out. Smooth in breath and a smooth out breath. And on each out breath, you're just releasing and letting go a little bit more. If your hands are clenched, open them. If your shoulders are up by your ears, drop them. Put your shoulders back just a little bit so your heart opens. And just allow yourself in this moment to be breathed by life. So not trying to force anything. Just noticing as the breath comes in through your nostrils and then exits. Noticing the temperature of the breath. Full attention just on that nostril, the nostrils, as it comes in and as it flows out. And how there is always another in-breath, there is always another out-breath. On the next in-breath, breathe in, hold for a second, and then breathe out. Then hold at the end of that out-breath for as long as you can before you breathe in again. Breathing in, breathing out. At the end of that out-breath, just for a brief moment, just hold that. Connecting with the peace and the quietness, the stillness. Stilling your mind, gentle breathing, until you can almost hear the heartbeat, your own heartbeat. This beautiful peace that's underneath the surface. Allow this peace to grow, to get bigger, to expand. Imagine this peace starting to fill your whole body. It starts to stretch out to all the organs, to the bones, to the tissues, to the skin, all the way up to the top of your head, down to the bottoms of your feet. Just expanding out till you're filled with this beautiful, peaceful, surrendered acceptance. Fully immersed in it. Just for a few moments where there is nowhere else to go, nothing else to do, other than being here right now. And feeling the gratitude for just this moment. Thoughts should come, just gently bring yourself back, like you would a small child. Take yourself by the hand and bring yourself back to just the next breath. Full allowing of this moment to be exactly as it is. Breathing into your heart as if your heart could expand like a lung. Imagine your heart softening and expanding with each breath. As you breathe into this heart center, this place of home, repeat the words of our affirmation for the evening, which is, I am love. I am love. Breathe these words into your being. And allow these words to also grow and expand. So that every cell of your body is filled with this love, with this peace, with this gratitude, with this acceptance. I am love. This is your true home. And it never goes anywhere. No matter what's going on in your life, no matter where you are, this place is right here. Just waiting for you to step into it. Lean into it. Be embraced by it. Be comforted by it. Be one with it. I am love. Now slowly bringing your focus back to your breath, taking a nice big deep breath in and out. You might want to rub your fingers together, might stretch your body a little bit, and when you're ready, gently start to open your eyes.
That's beautiful. Lovely meditation to bring us home.
Thanks, everyone.
If you've enjoyed what we've shared tonight and you're not part of our Journeys of Awakening WhatsApp group, you can join, and the details of our work are all on our website, which is journeys, plural, journeysofawakening.com. And if you would like to subscribe to our YouTube channel, that's great as well. Thank you all. We look forward to catching up with you in 2 weeks' time for our next satsang. And those of you on our Inner Space group, our Inner Space community, we will be catching up with you on Tuesday night, where we're looking at relationships.
We will indeed.
Yes. And I'll put a copy of this affirmation up on the Facebook page so that you can use it as a guide this week to bring you home. Thank you for being with us tonight. We love you all and we appreciate your presence tonight.
Thanks,
Thank you.
everyone.
Thank you.
Bye now.
Thank you.